Section 1.3 is entitled, It's All About Style. So we're going to talk about your learning style and interpreting bar graphs and pie charts. According to this example, which site has the highest daily reach? So we're looking at Google, Facebook, YouTube, Yahoo, and Wikipedia. So which sites per day get the most hits? And so the highest here would be Google. And what percentage goes to that site on an average day? Well, we just line up over to the left-hand side of the graph, and that looks, pretty close to 50, so we're going to say 49%. Usually when you're doing these, it's either going to be really easy to see or you're going to be able to estimate and be okay. It says, which is higher, Google's daily reach or the combined reach for YouTube and Yahoo? So YouTube looks like a little over 30%. So we'll say that's 32%. And Yahoo, almost halfway between 20 and 30. So we'll say 24%. And that comes to 56%. And so we would say that YouTube and Yahoo together are higher than Google. Using the same bar graph, it says, I did some poking around on the internet and found that in an average day, about 690 million people visit Facebook. Based on Facebook's daily reach, how many people access the internet each day? So Facebook, it looks like, was a little over 40, so about 41%. Okay? And so we want to find out how many people are on the internet during the day. So we want to know 41% of how many people are on the internet each day are on Facebook. We know that's 690 million. So if we divide those sides by 0.41, then we get that 1,683 million people are using the internet each day. And we can write that a little bit better as 1.683 billion people. I also found out that an estimated 3.3 billion people are internet users. What do you think accounts for the big discrepancy between this number and your answer to question 5? Well, 3.3 billion are internet users. 1.683 billion are internet uses in an average day, it says. Okay? So since it's just in an average day, then we could say not everyone uses the internet every day? What about you? I'm pretty sure that there's not a day that goes by that I'm not on the internet in some capacity, whether it's just email or working or what. Okay, so here's another bar graph. It says the Harris Interactive Polling Agency surveyed 2,094 customers in October of 2012, asking which former president they would most enjoy having a burger with. The top 4 vote getters are summarized in the bar graph, so this is kind of funny. Which former president has the highest percentage? And what is that percentage? So the highest here is obviously Clinton. And what is that percentage? Well, it's somewhere between 20 and 25, but a little bit closer to 20. So I'd say about 22%. It says, how many of the respondents would most enjoy having a burger with this most popular choice? So 22% of how many polled, 2,094, would enjoy having a burger with President Clinton. That's 461 people. Okay. Which former president would you most enjoy having a burger with? So still same graph here. Which 2 presidents tied in the poll? Well, it looks like if we go right down, can't draw a straight line on this. If we go right down through there, it looks like Reagan and Kennedy tied. How many people chose a president not in the top 4? Okay, so we have, if you'll notice, this isn't going all the way to 100% here. This is just including a small part. So we could look at how many are here. So Reagan, we could say, is about 14%. Clinton, we said, was about 22. Lincoln was pretty close to being right at 15. And then 14 again for Kennedy. So that's 65% that won't have a burger with one of these presidents in the top 4. So that means that 35% of these people picked another president besides these top 4. And 35% would be how many people? So 35% of 2,094 gives us 733 of the people did not choose one of these top 4 presidents. Let's look at a little bit different type of bar graph here. This one, you can see we've got 0 right at the middle, and then we've got negative numbers going down, as well as our positive numbers going up. And so any of our bars that go down below the 0 are actually giving a negative amount. Now, how could that be? Well, in this case, it's showing a profit or a loss. So losses can be negative. And this particular problem, it says the yearly net income or loss for the Ford Motor Company from 2007 to 2011 is shown on the graph. Describe how Ford performed in 2008 and in 2010. So in 2008, we can see, and it tells us that they lost 15, and this is in terms of billions. So in 2008, they lost $15 billion. And we know that because it's down negative. In 2010, they made a gain. In 2010, they profited $7 billion. So it asks us, what were the best and worst years for Ford between 2007 and 2011? And so, obviously, the worst year was 2008. Gosh, I wish it would stop doing that. As you can see, they lost the most. And the best, they gained the most in 2011. What was the largest single year increase in profit? Okay, so how can we tell this? The increase from one year to another. We want to look from one year to the next on our graph. Okay, so from here to here, we didn't increase, so obviously that's not going to be the case. From here to here, we increased from negative 15 to 3. So that's $18 billion. Then from 2009 to 2011, we increased by $4 billion. And 2009 to 2010, it was $4 billion. And 10 to 11 was $13 billion. So it looks like our largest single year increase was from 2008 to 2009. With an increase of $3 minus negative 15, or $18 billion. A mathematical way of expressing profit is to use a positive number. A negative number is used to represent a loss. Another bar graph. The first one compares the number of calories in a regular cheeseburger at the top 3 burger franchises in the United States. Look only at the heights of the bars on the graph. Describe how the number of calories appears to compare based on these heights. So it looks to me like burger 1 has twice as many calories as burger 3. and 3 times as many calories as burger 2. So assuming that a customer enjoys the taste of all 3 burgers equally, how likely do you think this graph would be to influence which burger they would choose to eat most often? So if they like all 3 of them equally, then it would probably influence them to choose burger 2. Carefully compare the second graph to the first. Does the second graph provide the same information as the first? So in the first one we've got there's 310 calories in burger 1. In the second one, yeah, it looks like 310 calories in burger 1. For burger 2, there's 280 calories. And the second graph, 280 calories. So, yes, it's showing the same thing. And it does for the third burger, too. So, yes, they do provide the same information. But, focus strictly on the height of the bars. How do the 3 burgers compare in terms of calorie content on the second graph? So on the second graph, it looks like the burgers were pretty much the same in calories. What scale is used on the vertical axis for each graph? So the first graph, the scale is going from 270 up to 315 by 5s. The second graph is starting at 0 and going to 350, and it's counting by 50s. Which of the 3 franchises would be most likely to use the first graph in advertising? So, the first graph looks like the number 2, burger number 2, has the least calories. So the second burger chain will want to use the first graph. Which one would want to use the second graph? Well, if you're the burger with the most calories, burger 1, then you would want to use the second graph because it shows that you're really not that different from the others. So the second graph would be used by burger chain 1. This bar graph is a little bit different because it graphs more than one thing for each section here. So you can see it says daily average shares traded in millions. So these are stock shares of 3 different companies, Apple, Microsoft, and Intel. And so you can see that in June we've got blue for Apple, orange for Microsoft, and kind of tan color for Intel, and so forth for each, the same for each month. Which company has the greatest variance in trade volume over that period? Which one has the greatest variance? So in other words, a biggest jump, okay? So it looks like the largest jump is Apple, because we're going up and coming back down. How did that happen? Okay. Oops. Okay. So for Apple, it looks like they went up and back down. For the others, they kind of stayed the same. So it says to write a sentence. Microsoft, I'm just going to put M, and Intel stay stable. While Apple rises considerably. And falls. Which company had the most consistent trade volume? Okay, so which one out of the 3 was the most consistent? Well, we know it wasn't Apple. So let's see. For Microsoft, that's the orange one. There, we're going to take the highest amount and subtract off the lowest amount and see what the difference is. So Microsoft's highest amount looks like about 39. And their lowest, somewhere around in there, oh no, it's October, so right at 30. So Microsoft's variance was 9. And then for Intel, their variance, their highest looks like about 39 too, but then the lowest was about 33. So only 6. So Intel has the smallest difference. Which company had the lowest number of overall shares traded during that period? Well, we know it wasn't Apple because they're the largest over the whole period. So if we look at Microsoft, what we want to do is add up what looks like the totals for those 5 months. So we'd say 31 plus 34, we're just estimating here, looking at the graph, plus 39 plus 32 plus 30 is 166 million. And then Intel looks like 33 plus 39 plus 36, 34, and 38 to be 180 million. So that's how we can tell who had the lowest number, and so it looks like Microsoft had the lowest number. For the next problem, we're going to talk about, this is the last one here, last example, in what cases is it better to use a bar graph or a pie chart, okay? So the first one, it says we have a survey of 100 college freshmen found that 82 used Facebook, 10 used MySpace, 48 used Twitter, and 60 use Instagram, and 33 use Google+. The other situation is in a geology class with 32 students. We have the amount that we learned each grade on a exam. So which data is better illustrated with the bar graph? So in this case, the social network can't go into the pie chart because more people than we total there go into the category. So we're going to use our bar graph for social network use. Okay, and we're going to actually make our chart here. So on our chart, we need the different types of, what is that? Chat software. I don't know how to categorize it. We'll just call it that. So we're going to put that on the bottom. So we've got Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. On the vertical axis, we're going to put the actual numbers that we found. And let's see, we're going up to 82. So if we we'll make each notch 10 or every other 20. Okay. And so we're going to graph each of them. So 82 use Facebook. So that's something like that. Says 10 use MySpace. "48 use Twitter. 60 use Instagram. And it says 33 use Google+. So that's about what our bar graph should look like. Which data is better illustrated with the pie chart? Well, the test scores. Why? Because they can separate into different parts of the whole. There are exactly 32 students, and we have exactly how much for each section there. So if we're going to recreate a pie chart here, then we need to make a table. Okay, and so we've got to make a table with, first of all, the number in each category. And each category was A, B, C, D, and F. And then we need to change that to percent. And once we change it to percent, then we can change it to degrees so that we can put it in our pie chart. Okay, so let's see. The number that made an A, there were 6 of them. And so we would find, I'm just going to work this first one to the side, and then I'm not going to work another one. So 6 out of the 32 would be 18.8%. And if we change that to degrees, then we're doing 0.188 times 360 degrees. And it gives us about 68 degrees. And so the graph on here, the ones that made an A is 68. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little bit over. So there's our A's. Then how many made a B? 12. So 12 divided by 32 is 37.5%. 0.375 multiplied by 360 is 135 degrees. So I'm going to go this other direction here. Here's 90. So to get to 135, then we just do 4 more, 1 or 3 more. Yeah, 4 more. 2, 3, 4, and then a half. So there would be our B's. It says 7 earned a C. Jeez. 7 divided by 32 is 21.9%. Multiply 0.219 by 360 and get 79 degrees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and probably a little bit over. Would be our C's. I know this problem's taking a lot of time, but we're almost done. 4 earned a D. That's 12.5%, or 45 degrees. And then last, oh, it doesn't tell how many made an F. So if we add those up and subtract from 32, there's 3. That's 9.4% or 34 degrees. So that should be this section in here. Okay? And that's the end of this section.